the first run in the first round of Pro Comp Eliminator. Donnie Pocock, Tower side, Mark Herbold in the export lane. Good looking 32 Bantam Roadster for Mark Herbold in the export side. He'll be the faster of the two cars in the export lane. Don Pocock, the 23 Bantam Roadster, here on the Tower side will be the first to leave the starting line. You see the dial-in, 796 for the Roadster here on the Tower side. Mark Herbold in the other lane. His dial-in, 725 for the supercharged Roadster in the export side. Mark Herbold gives it a dry hit on the starting line. Don Pocock is ready to go here, Tower side. Supercharged big block Chevrolet in the export lane for Mark Herbold. He was our winner the last Pro Comp action here at London Motorsports Park. What a wild-looking pair of race cars as they bring him to the starting line, the first round of eliminations in Pro Comp Eliminator. Don Pocock on the Tower side, his 797 made him the number 10 qualifier. Mark Herbold, a 728, made him the number 3 qualifier in the export lane. The first pair down the racetrack in Pro Comp Eliminator action. Let's see what happens. Should be a good close race. Tower side leads first. And Don Pocock leads a little early here on the Tower side. He'll give the win to Mark Herbold, the supercharged Roadster with a shootout. 734 in the export side, 173 miles an hour for the win for Mark Herbold. Tower side, 805, 159.21 for Don Pocock. Hard charging pair of Roadsters in that first run of Pro Comp Eliminator. The Delavan Auto Parts entry is in the export side. Quite a different approach in these two types of race cars. Supercharged gasoline-burning Chevrolet here on the Tower side, and you hear the Lopi idle, and that is indicative of a supercharged motor on gasoline. And that's not the driver whacking the throttle. That is the way that car idles, with a big camshaft and the supercharger sitting on top of the motor here for Frank Malvaso on the Tower side. In the other lane, Joe DiRienzo Jr. out of Delavan Auto Parts in 97 Rock. Good-looking rear-engine dragsters on both sides of the racetrack. DiRienzo will be the first of the team cars. His team partner, Gary Louth, will be in the next race right behind DiRienzo in the export side. The car on the Tower side, Malvaso, currently number 1 in points at Lancaster Dragway in Lancaster, New York. So he's definitely a tough competitor as he brings her to the starting line area. DiRienzo brings her up to the starting line over in the export side. We got them both pre-staged. We're going to bring it. Both cars a little better right here on the Tower side, but the chute comes out on the dragster. He tries to drive her through anyways, and he does it for the win. Tower side 797. He's got the chute out early, but he drove her through for the win. In the other lane, the dragster 891 for the Delavan Auto Parts entry. Tower side, Malvaso, your winner on the last run. The chute deployed early, but Malvaso, being the sharp driver he is, he felt the chute come out, but kept his foot to the floor, still went 797 here on the Tower side for the supercharged dragster and the win. Tom Sylvester, this is your last call to the staging lanes. Tom Sylvester, Pro Comp, rear-engine dragster, this is your last call to the staging lanes. And here's one of the killer cars in Pro Comp, Shannon Galbraith on the Tower side, the young lady doing the driving with this dragster, James R. Galbraith, building the car, 250-inch wheelbase entry. She'll be up against Gary Louth over there in the export side. Gary Louth out of Lancaster, New York, one of the Delavan Auto Parts car. The car on the Tower side went 733. And Gary Louth with a red light stars Shannon Galbraith. The young lady will get a win in the first round of Pro Comp Eliminator. Shannon Galbraith Nice run on the tower side, 7:42, 177 miles an hour in the export lane. Gary Louth, the red light start, 4:66 light for Gary Louth. He went 8:19, 163 miles an hour in the export side. The Harris Racing dragster coming up now in the export side. Unique combination, fuel-injected big block Chevrolet over there in the export side. You can see they got the screen or mesh over top of the fuel injectors. The car running those uneven Kinsler, I believe, Hilborn type fuel injectors on the car, and they've got the screens over them as the top of the injectors are open. So that's to keep any stray birds or whatever have you on the way down the racetrack from the race car. So the Harris Racing entry will get a single in this round of Pro Comp. You see the crew pull the screen off the injectors. Doug Harris, the Chandler chassis rear engine dragster. Nice clean run through the top end. The dragster goes 778, 162 miles an hour in the export lane as we continue through Pro Comp Eliminator round number 1. It'll be followed by the Big Thunder. The Pro Modifieds and the Funny Cars will be coming up following this first round of Pro Comp Eliminator action. Jeff Aaron, a big smoky burnout in the export side. So Jeff Aaron becomes the number 1 qualifier, so he will get the single in the first round of Pro Comp Eliminator, the bonus for being the number 1 qualifier. .526 cubic inches of Keith Black Hemi power for the Bad to the Bone team. The crew lining Jeff Aaron up as he pulls to the starting line area. And 60 foot for the Roadster. Through the other end, 683 for Jeff Aaron. Terrific run, 199.91 miles an hour for Jeff Aaron in the export side. What a great run for our low qualifier. He goes faster again, 683 at 199 miles an hour to become the low ET for Jeff Aaron. What a great run out of the Bad to the Bone entry. 2 more good ones here on the line now. This will be Dale Stribe on the tower side. Dale and Lisa Stribe out of Union, Ontario, just down the road, the Pretty Green Roadster here on the tower side. Dale is dialed at 827. He'll be facing Chuck Nagy. Chuck out of Fedden's Performance in Niagara Falls, Ontario. And what a runner, the dragster. Single 4-barrel, small block Chevrolet in that dragster. He is dialed at 752 with a single 4-barrel, small block, and an automatic transmission. Dale Stribe tower side, 540 cubic inches. Big block Chevrolet for Dale. Here's your countdown. Dale Stribe leads. Chuck Nagy right behind him, and what a pair of lights. A 522 to a 528. You can pick him in the other lane. It is Nagy, your winner. Great run, 759 for Chuck at 162 tower side. Dale Stribe, 836 at 159.91. So Chuck Nagy drives by in the export lane for the win on a terrific drag race. Identical reaction times by both race cars as they head to the top end of the racetrack, and it was the faster car driving by in the export lane. So the next pair coming up now, it'll be the Chatterston Racing rear-engine dragster export side. Small block Ford powered rear-engine dragster, kind of unique in itself with the Ford motor in the car. Cleveland Power for the Ford motor entry. Tower side, the door slammer, Kevin Wick. Strong running Plymouth Arrow here on the tower side. His dial 879. That short wheelbase Arrow, 481 cubic inches of B1 Chrysler for power here on the tower side. You see the Chatterson Racing Team bringing the car back towards the starting line. The small block Ford dialed at 778 over there in the export side. 879 the dial tower side for the Arrow. The tower side black car will leave first. Jeff Chatterson will try and catch him as they head through the top end of the racetrack. Chatterson, he saw the red, decided to shut it off on the starting line. Kevin Wick flies by for the win tower side, 889, 138 miles an hour. So the door slammer will go into the second round of Pro Comp Eliminator. Takes the win with an 889 at 138. Jeff Chatterson slowing dejectedly to a 1754, 62 miles an hour. That's the one thing about a red light start in drag racing, and it is a bad feeling for a driver because you know instantly when you look up at the tree, your drag racing days are over. Red means the end of the day, and it's just a tough way to lose. It's the final of the finals as they get to you in drag racing. In the top end, sometimes you're not sure if you went through first or the other car went through first. When you look up and see the red light, you know your day is done drag racing. So Jeff Chatterson saw the red light and he decided just to shut her off and coast her through the top end to drag race another day. So we're bringing out some more Pro Comp action. Paul Noakes coming up in the export side out of London, Ontario. The funny car, he qualified this car in Pro Comp Eliminator, and tower side will be Richard Roosevelt. The plastic money entry here on the tower side for Richard Roosevelt. Big block Chevrolet powered dragster constructed by Mike Boss on the tower side. The good looking Motion Lincoln Mercury B&N Automotive sponsored Ford Probe for the Noakes family. The Automotive Specialties dragster here on the tower side. The dragster dialed at 780. The funny car in the export side dialed at 720 for Paul Noakes. You see his dad Brian bringing him to the starting line. This is the first weekend of racing for Paul Noakes in this Motion Lincoln Mercury entry. He will leave after Richard Roosevelt. Richard will leave first on the tower side, 477 cubic inches of big block Chevrolet up against Paul Noakes. The black car will move first here on the tower side. Sounded like Paul Noakes with some breakage problems in the export side. Tower side will drive through the other end as your winner, 798 at 161 miles an hour.